Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 3, Episode 26 of the Big at the Back podcast. I'm Tom. I'm joined by Matt. Matt, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. We are in the midst of another international break, but it was much needed, I feel like. But yeah, I'm not too bad. Still injured, going physio on my dodgy ribs after getting elbowed playing football a couple of weeks ago, so that's all fun. But yeah, I mean, I'm still alive. I can't complain too much. How are you?
I'm in a similar position. I'm injured because apparently took on too much running. I was running every 3 days and then got a little hamstring pull, which has kind of sidelined me for a few days. So super fun. I say a few days. It's probably going to be a few weeks because I'm already.
Yeah, I was going to say, yeah, that's like your hamstring. That's not a few days.
It's only minor. It's only minor. I mean, I'm a self-diagnosis, but I'm assuming I'll be able to run again in like 2 days.
Well, yeah, you never know. This is a sign of things now, though, isn't it? I mean, pulled hamstrings, injured ribs. I think we're getting old.
I think we are as well. And you know what's made us even older? GW29. Now we've got to speak about it very briefly. I think we need to do it at the top of the pod here, right at the beginning, because last time we were here, we were both really excited because we were on our free hits. So let's dive into and very briefly go through our teams on the worst game. In fact, let's not even go through our teams. Let's just smash through it. The worst game week ever. It was great because results and Spurs getting trashed by Fulham. Lol. But apart from that, it was terrible. My team would have been better if I'd have just left it alone and not used my free hit. Was yours the same?
Free hit, more like free shit. Am I right? I don't know if my team would have been any better off. Probably not, but it definitely wouldn't have been any like significantly worse because let's be honest, it couldn't have been any worse, really. I mean, pretty much the world and their wife went 3 Spurs. Obviously, that didn't pay off. Captain Son. There was, I mean, Antonio got a return, but no one had him as their striker. I mean, I literally had 0 returns in my starting 11. Reguilon, obviously, with a -3 because everyone had him and he got sent off within the first 10 minutes of the game. The only player I had return was Emi Martinez with 5 on my bench.
No, I had a Reguilon return as well. So I had Martinez with 5 and Reguilon with -3. So, oh, it was horrendous, wasn't it? And looking at my bench, on my bench, I had Leno with 7, Robinson with 11, and Muniz with 11.
That is disgusting.
What can we do? Like that's the world we live in. It was a horror show game week. Spurs capitulated. To be honest,
Brentford obviously losing at home away to Burnley as well. Everyone was banking on them because Burnley is shit. No one really had any real like eggs in the basket with Luton Forest. I mean, I had Morris as a striker option, and Elanga, but I mean, no one really expected much out of that game. And I think you can probably just about say the same for West Ham Villa. You didn't really see either team keeping a clean sheet.
I celebrated when Areola conceded.
Yeah.
I just that if Areola had kept a clean sheet, I would have screamed and quit FPL at that point.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I feel like it's not far away anyway, is it? Another week like that next week, and we'll see.
We'll see, but somehow I got 19 points on my free hit and ended on a slight green arrow. So it was a good week to have a bad week, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I had a red arrow, but it wasn't a very big red arrow. Do you know what the most annoying thing about that week is? It vindicates anyone that had used their free hit earlier on. Like one of my friends had used it early doors, and he got away with it. So yeah, it pains me. You shouldn't be rewarded for bad play, but here we are.
Oh, here we are. This is fantasy football. The luck makes it fun. So let's move on because after this international break, we are entering into a really fun bit of the season, which is the final stretch. So I think we're going to speak about what a wildcard team would look like, what teams you need to be targeting for this last 8 fixtures, and how we're going to be using our chips moving forward. Because I have a bench boost left. I think you have a wildcard and a bench boost left, right?
Correct.
Any thoughts on playing the wildcard? Because if I had it, this would be the week I'd use it.
No, I am gonna hold on. I think, and I've got to think about it basically between now and obviously Saturday. But my current plan is wildcard 33, bench boost 34.
I don't like that. I think, okay, let me try and pitch this to you.
Okay, you work in sales, so
well, I think
sell me this pen.
If you've got a wild card remaining, then I think there's 2 options. Number 1 is wild card now. Number 2 is wild card in 35 to prep for the big 37 double. Now, the argument is if you wild card now, it's going to be pretty much the same team as if you wild card in 33. So you may as well do it now before the price rises happen. And then you've got the bench boost and you've got the 3 weeks of having a great team. And then you've got the double. And then what the alternative is, you wildcard in 35 after this double, preps for a massive 35, 36, where you can have 3 Chelsea and 3 Spurs, coming on to them in a minute, and then that massive game week 37 double as well. Those are the 2 ways I think are good enough, or the right ways to play a wild card right now. Because if you are holding off your wild card for 1 or 2 weeks, then you're missing out on great opportunities with teams you want to own, such as Arsenal, Liverpool. There's just so much upside in doing it early versus doing it in 2 weeks.
My counterpoint to that, and this is a very big thing, is I'm not going to get the 3 Palace that I would get in for the double when they've got City and Liverpool in the next few weeks. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to triple up on Palace for the double, aren't I? So,
are you?
Yeah, obviously.
I mean,
West Ham and Newcastle, both at home. That just screams Mateta, Mitchell, and who's another player, Palace player, Tom?
Anderson, maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
I actually have, for my sins, brought back in Tyrick Mitchell already as one of my transfers this week.
Oh, Tom.
On the basis of I'm going to be starting him this week, then on the bench for the next 2 weeks, ready for the double. But if you look at the teams that are doubling in 34, I guess let's start there. So you've got Liverpool with the double game week confirmed, and they are going to be playing Fulham away and Everton away. You've got Arsenal, who are playing Wolves away and Chelsea at home. You've then got Crystal Palace with West Ham home, Newcastle home. You've also got Wolves with Arsenal at home and Bournemouth at home. And you have Bournemouth with Aston Villa away and Wolves away.
You forgot the big one, Sheffield United.
I did not forget Sheffield United. Saving the best to last because they have Burnley at home and Man U away. Very tasty double for all you Cameron Archer stands out there.
I mean, yeah, let's get Ben Brereton Diaz in.
So is your strategy to... Are you still thinking of holding the wild card?
I'm going to consider it between now and the deadline as to whether I play it or not. What I need to do that I haven't done is build a draft wildcard squad and see how much I like it, not just for this week, but for the next sort of 5 weeks, obviously building up to that double. So we will see. And then obviously the other thing is you can use the transfers between now and then to get a full bench boosted side out. But yeah, I'm going to dally with it between now and the deadline.
Yeah, so I'm going to be using transfers to get a full bench boost side. The fact that Bournemouth, who I've got 3 of, have a double game week. Liverpool, who I've now got 2 of because I've done my transfers today, have a double game week. Arsenal, who I've got 3 of, double game week. Palace have a double game week. And then I've got 2 City, Haaland and Foden that I'm just not going to drop. So I'll keep them. Then I've basically got Muniz and Bell. Muniz I can keep for the next, and Son. Muniz I will keep for the next few weeks. Son I will keep for the next few weeks, but move him out because they actually blank in 34. So I can move Son down to, actually I don't mind a Garnacho or probably more likely an Eze. this is 434. So I'm down to Eze, and then I can move Muniz up to a forward. TBC, I would quite like, if he's back, to go Matthias Kuna, who I think could be quite an interesting differential for their double. But there's a few different options available.
Yeah, I was looking at Cunha earlier this week. Just with Nito being out for probably about 6 weeks potentially, that really puts pay to him. But obviously, we've got time to watch and see how that recovery develops between now and that double.
But I think that could be quite a fun differential. I also think it's worth, let's be honest, for those that have still got the free hit, you've won. Congratulations. Go and enjoy your
What a sad little life you live.
But looking at this, 34 is the best opportunity to free hit because you can load up on not Arsenal players, you can load up on Chelsea players and you can load up on Spurs players, both of whom have 3 great fixtures between now and then. Then Chelsea play Arsenal away in 34 and Spurs blank in 34. So you free hit then, bringing all the best players for a great free hit team. And then coming out from, it looks like Chelsea and Spurs will double in either 35 or 36 with each other. And both of them will also double in 37. So you could be really stacked with 3 Chelsea, 3 Spurs if you've still got that free hit. So that's definitely an option to consider if you've still got that chip.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I love it. Chelsea probably more so than Spurs, when Spurs' 2 fixtures that are currently in the books after that blank are Arsenal at home and Liverpool away.
Yeah.
So even if you throw another fixture into there, is there really that much of an upside?
It would be against Chelsea. I'd argue for Heung-min Son, there would be.
Yeah.
Maybe even Richarlison. I mean, I like the Richarlison pick, but no, I wouldn't go for a Spurs defender.
Yeah, I think that's the issue, isn't it? So I don't know if I love that. I just can't trust Spurs at the moment. I mean, look what happened last week.
You've got to think they'll bounce back from that. Surely they've basically got a fully fit squad now.
First time under Postecoglou that they haven't scored in the Premier League as well.
Yeah, and they never looked like scoring either. I mean, we watched that together in the pub and we were laughing quite happily.
Yeah, it was great. And now that means, I think I might have sent you this. The team that is currently on the longest consecutive run of games scoring a goal in the Premier League
is Luton.
It is Luton with 17 consecutive games, which is incredible. Bearing in mind, we're always talking about them as a team to target. But they just, even when they lose, especially as we've seen over the last few months, they really have come into their own. I hope they stay up.
Yeah, so do I. I hope Forest and Everton somehow go down. Who should go down with it? I guess Sheffield United. Maybe Burnley make a miraculous recovery and Forest and Everton both go down.
Yeah, it's just not going to happen though, is it? Sheffield United and Burnley are gone.
I hate Burnley as well, so that's fine.
Fuck Burnley.
Luton are the most fantasy relevant team this year because everyone is always playing Luton.
Every team has them within the next 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, over the whole season, every team plays Luton at some point in the next few games.
It's just mad, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll go. I'll have a look. Oh, well, they've got Luton next week. Oh, so have they. Yeah. Like, I'm sure they've played 73 games this year. So how are they still that low down the table?
But it's like they're like the opposite of Fulham. Fulham are a team we just don't talk about in fantasy because they don't exist in fantasy. Luton, however, I feel like we've all owned so many of Luton's players over the last season or so.
How dare you disrespect the top scoring goalkeeper in FPL this season?
Yeah, true. Bernd Leno, what a man. If you were in a wild card, what would you be what would your squad look like? Who would your considerations be? Because I've got an idea, but let's run it by you. I guess starting with goalkeeper, if you're going to look there.
So goalkeepers, I mean, at the moment with the upcoming fixtures, potential doubles, I still think you want to go fairly cheap. So potentially, I mean, do you keep Areola? Probably not. So my 2 at the moment are Raya and Areola, and I dropped both of them. Raya more so because I want 3 outfield Arsenal players. I feel like you're going to get more bang for your buck there. So I don't know. I mean, maybe you're probably looking at Leno as one. Bearing in mind he's the top scorer, a couple of good fixtures coming up, and then maybe Onana again, who's another top scorer. They've got some half decent fixtures, but they don't have that double coming up in 34. Is the only concern there.
I think it depends on whether you want to be bench boosting in 34 on a wild card. But even then, Man United play Sheffield United at home in 34. So I think
they'll definitely concede.
That could be an excellent single game week option. So I would actually say I agree with Onana. I then probably look at, I mean, David Ray is an obvious one, but otherwise, even looking at Palace goalkeeper, just think, because you don't want three Palace outfield players, do you?
No, the only other person I consider, and you'll laugh and scoff, is Jordan Pickford. Because you're not going to load up on Everton outfield players at all. They do have a double, and he gets save points every week.
Yeah, I don't hate it actually. I quite like that.
So and they have got like Bournemouth away this week, and the week after, so it's Newcastle. But then they have Burnley at home. They have a double, one of which is a Merseyside derby. If he's ever going to shit house his way to a big haul, it'll be against Liverpool.
He'll probably injure Salah on the way, like break his leg or something. Yeah, like there'll be something there. All of those answers are wrong because we go Neto.
Fuck off.
I mean, he's going to be in my bench boost 34. That's all I'm saying.
I'll stick Pedro Neto in goal instead.
Defensively, I think you want to be looking, for me, on a wild card, I'd go to Arsenal. I'd go Gabriel and White.
Yeah, probably, but only.
Do you want Arsenal spots to be in midfield? Like
no,
or a Havertz or a Martinelli?
Declan Rice.
Fuck off,
mate! I told you. Captain in England tomorrow night as well, Declan Rice.
No one gives a shit. It's a.
Do you know what's like twisted my mind today when I heard it? Tomorrow night will be Declan Rice's 50th England cap.
And he hasn't performed well in any of them.
How has he already got 50 caps?
I mean, he's what, 25 years old? Like, it's not uncommon, especially with the amount of games that
That is a lot of caps, though. He could, like, genuinely, I know there's a lot more football these days for internationals, but, like, he is gonna like, challenge Beckham's record for outfield caps.
How many caps did David Beckham have? 115. Yeah, he'll probably beat that.
Yeah, it's mad.
England's have far more games.
Yeah, especially when you go back to because obviously Peter Shilton's got the most, and there was far fewer internationals played back then.
However, Harry Kane has 89 England caps right now.
Yeah,
so
it feels like he's been around a lot longer though.
Yeah, but he's probably going to get plays until he's 40 because we have no other good strikers. Watkins is shit. Tony's shit. Harry Kane's going to be there forever.
Stick Jared Bowen through the middle.
Oh, I couldn't wait to get him out. That's why I moved early.
He's going to punish you this week.
If you're in a wild card, I think you go two Arsenal defenders. For me, it's Gabriel and White.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. It was really hard for me not to say probably White there. But yeah, I think that's probably the most sensible and logical decision. And then the others are pretty much of a muchness. You might throw in a Palace bench for the defender because looking towards that double that's going up in 34. I'm not going to touch any Liverpool defenders probably just because the fixtures they've got two good fixtures, but you just don't know one who's got to be fit at any one time. The only one you're probably going to try and bank on is Virgil, but again, can you really rely on them to keep any clean sheets?
Nah, I wouldn't like that. I would actually be going for a Bournemouth defender. I'd go Zabarnyi.
Yeah, that's not a bad shout either. And the other reason you don't go for a Liverpool defender is you're probably going to go Salah, probably going to go Darwin, and probably going to go someone like a Luis Diaz or something like that.
I disagree with that completely. I wouldn't be going Darwin. I wouldn't be going Luis Diaz. Diogo Jota is going to be back in a few weeks. So by the time that double rolls around, I'm not sure either Diaz or Darwin are guaranteed the starts. You've also got Gakpo and Elliott waiting in the wings there as well.
I don't believe there is ever a time when you would seriously not consider Darwin because you fucking love that man too much.
He is the greatest number of all time!
You set the dog off with that.
Yeah, a little bit much. I wouldn't be looking at Darwin for the double, considering the other options we have up front, and we'll get to them in a bit. But if you're looking at 3 Liverpool assets, I think you go Salah as the obvious move. Maybe you go Luis Diaz, but I feel like that's contentious. That aside, I'm not sure where else you'd possibly go. Maybe Alisson if he's back, and so I wouldn't. You're right. I wouldn't be going for any defenders.
Is what you're saying here again? Like if you're looking at the 4 or 5 weeks down the line with people coming back from injury, is that another argument for not wildcarding now because you don't know what's coming further down the line with all these players coming back and potentially getting injured?
I think you just get the players you know are going to play. Like realistically, when does Salah get injured in the last stretch of the season? When does Saka get injured in the last stretch of the season? When does Gabriel? When does White? You just get players you know are going to play. For Liverpool, I think Virgil van Dijk isn't an awful shout. It's just a lot of money to spend on the defender right now when you probably are wanting at the moment to have Son, Salah, and Haaland and Saka.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a much of muchness, but I would be looking at a Bournemouth defender, probably Zabani. I'd be looking at a Palace defender, probably Mitchell, and he can sit on the bench for the City and Liverpool games. I would be looking at, I'm not sure, maybe a Wolves defender actually, because after game week 30, their fixtures are quite nice. It's Burnley away, West Ham at home, Forest away, and then a double. And then Luton at home. See, Luton. Everyone plays Luton.
Maybe Ain't Nori.
Maybe. Wouldn't hate it at all, actually.
Crept up with a goal. Was it in the cup? I can't even remember. Everything seems so long ago now.
He got a later a couple of game weeks ago on FPL. I remember that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he scored in the FA Cup defeat to Coventry.
Across the midfield, wildcards get easier because you go Salah, you go Son with the intention of moving him out before 34, you go Saka, you go Palmer, and you go Foden. The question is, how do you make one of them Gordon? Because Newcastle's fixtures are excellent. And should you make one of those Gordon? Maybe Palmer. And then it's who do you bring Son out for? Like when it gets to the wild card, because maybe Eze is the transfer. Son to Eze in 34 may be the right pick.
Yeah, I'm discounting anything you say about Anthony Gordon because I can't stand the little prick. But yeah, the other
34, Crystal Palace away.
Tom, everything you're saying is going to be perfectly logical, but it's not going to resonate with me because I'm not bringing him in.
Fair enough. Stick with Cole Palmer then, loser.
Yeah, fucking will, mate. Seeing as, how long did it take for you to bring him in earlier this season?
But I did bring him in. And I gave Raheem Sterling his last ever go in my fantasy team. Now he's fantasy banned. I will never own Raheem Sterling in fantasy again.
Right, now that's how I feel about Anthony Gordon. Not that he's let me down. He's just a little rat-faced little prick and I can't stand him.
I mean, didn't you say this one's about Richarlison as well? And he was glorious for me. Maybe not for you, but he was glorious for me for a while.
Yeah. Well done. What, do you want, a medal?
No, I want you to buy Bruno Fernandes next. Go on, give in to your dark side.
Fuck off.
So do you, aside from my Gordon shout, but that midfield I just mentioned, Salah, Saka, Son, Palmer, Foden, that's it. 5, right?
Yeah, definitely. There's no really deviation from that. I don't think you could hand me a very sound argument for replacing any one of those.
Yeah, I agree.
The only question you could have is probably over Son, just because of the fixtures further down the line. But I think for the next 4, you want him in.
Well, even the next 3, they look kind of ridiculous. He's got Luton at home, West Ham away, then Nottingham Forest at home. Then Newcastle away, you can move him out before that, but even that's a risk. in 33, like maybe if you want to go Rashford because they've got Bournemouth away and then Sheffield United at home, then Burnley at home. I don't mind moving Rashford in, but that side, nah, not interested. And even that, I don't really like.
Yeah.
Up front then, so Erling Haaland, and then you've got 2 spots. Now, I mentioned obviously having better spot availability than Darwin. Ollie Watkins is obviously there. His fixtures are not very good. So I wouldn't be having Watkins in a wild card, but I understand a lot of people won't want to sell him. I think you go Dom Solanke, just because the fixtures between now and game week 35 are brilliant. Everton at home, Palace at home, Luton away, Man U at home, and then it's a double. Like that's such an amazing run of fixtures. I think you want Solanke. So that's 2. And then my third option would be Muniz because they've got Sheffield United away next. But even that, there's still other brilliant options up front. You could go Nicholas Jackson for Chelsea, who is scoring goals. You could be going Anthony Isak for Newcastle, who's scoring. Like feels like a lot of great forward options in FPL at the moment, all of which suck because they knocked Darwin.
Yeah, the only thing I will say is you say about Watkins is less than stellar fixtures. His home fixtures are good, and they're every other week. So it's Wolves at home, City away, Brentford at home, Arsenal away, Bournemouth at home, Chelsea at home. And Villa's home form was what's carried them most of this season. So I would say that he's worth keeping for those home fixtures because he could punish you in each one of those if you don't have him.
Do you just go Haaland, Watkins, Solanke then?
Probably. That's the current front 3 I've got. So I can't see myself really saying, oh, they're worth changing to someone else, unless the only person I would want to bring in is Darwin.
Yeah, I understand.
If you're wild carding now, Brighton at home, Sheffield United home, Palace at home, 3 of the next 4. The other one's United away.
In that case, yeah, I guess you are. Still,
look at me having to convince you that Darwin's the right choice. What is this world? We're in like some alternate universe.
I want to make an argument for other players because I haven't done it all season. Another person.
All right then. You make an argument for Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Go on.
No, I would rather make an argument for Rasmus Højlund for Man United, who before his injury was in a great run of form scoring. His upcoming fixtures, there's no doubles, but it's Brentford away, who suck, Chelsea away, who knows what could happen in that game. Then it's Liverpool at home, which you'd bench him for, but then it's Bournemouth away, Sheffield United at home, Burnley at home, Crystal Palace away. I think there is, I will own a Man U player in this stretch at some point, maybe after that Liverpool game, perhaps.
I think you should buy Bruno.
You know what? End of the season, Brighton away. That could be quite a fun captaincy punt.
Could it?
No.
Just does nothing about that. Sounds fun.
Regretted that statement almost.
As it left your lips, I could see the disgust in your face.
I do think there's a world where I own Rashford for that little run, though. Bournemouth, United, Burnley, Palace.
I hate it.
Is it as bad as me saying I'll almost certainly own Nicholas Jackson after game week 34?
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I don't even know anymore, Tom.
I mean, we're getting too old for this. So that's what I'm doing. I've already brought in Mitchell and Salah in place of Bowen and Trippier for this week. I've taken a -4 to do it. My captain's armband is going to be on Mo Salah. What are you thinking for the upcoming week with your captaincy?
Salah is pretty much, he's the obvious choice this week with City playing Arsenal. You're not captaining any of the players from either of those teams. And Salah coming back from injury, having obviously got quite a few minutes under his belt before the break. It's the obvious choice. I can't see, and my transfer if I don't wildcard is KDB to Salah, armband on Salah. It's just simple for me.
If you didn't have Salah, who would you be going for? Because I think there's a lot of good options. There's Son against
I
Leeds
would be
at
getting
home.
Salah in and captaining him.
Yeah,
But
I mean, so that's what I've done. But
yeah, I mean, you could argue Son is worth a look. Like there's players in there's teams that have good fixtures, but not teams that you're gonna really be like Chelsea, Burnley at home. But I mean, maybe Cole Palmer.
Palmer with Burnley at home, I really like. There's Son with Luton at home. Muniz with Sheffield United away. Solanke with Everton at home. There's some good captains.
Watkins, Wolves at home. The only thing I will say
Yeah.
about Muniz is all his returns really have been at home so far. He hasn't really got much away, so
Counterpoint: Sheffield United.
fair. That is a valid counterpoint.
TBC. I think it's worth a mention, if not actually doing it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm on Salah, obviously.
Yeah, I think he's just the outright obvious pick, the best pick. If you haven't got him, get him and put the armband on him. That's my advice. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah,
So, if anything, that will probably prove that it will be the wrong choice.
he's already risen in price once, and he's likely to do so again over this week. So he's gone from 13 to 13.1. He's going to rise to 13.2 by the end of the week. It's just a case of when, not if.
And
So,
Tom, the good news is that Liverpool aren't the early kickoff after an international break.
I know that I'm absolutely flabbergasted.
So you haven't got something to moan about until, I don't know, Paul Tierney referees your game or something.
Well, right after our West Ham game on a Thursday night, or like 8 o'clock on a Wednesday night, we've got a Saturday morning kickoff straight after that. So,
Good.
I mean,
That's the way it should be.
there's something to moan about there.
Yeah. Well, yeah. It's never too far away from the next thing for a Scouser to moan about.
Ooh, dare you call me a Scouser?
Wow.
Moving swiftly on before I plunge into this pool of self-hate and deprecation. You're planning for the bench boost. The key places you can use it are probably in game week 34 or game week 37. Which are you leaning towards?
Currently 34. I think the fixtures look a bit better from what we've seen. But at the same time, there's something to be said for holding it out for later in the season, because that's when crazy shit starts happening. So I don't know. It's really is a tricky one. I'm gonna wait as long as I can to find out as much information as I can before making a decision. And then just one day going panicking and going, "Oh, I'll do it now."
Ben Crellin has basically confirmed the fixtures in 37. So in 37, Chelsea get a double with Forest away and Brighton away. Tottenham have Burnley home, City at home. City have Fulham away, Tottenham away. Brighton have Newcastle away, Chelsea at home. Man U have Arsenal at home, Newcastle at home, and Newcastle have Brighton at home, Man U at home. Now, I guess the reason I'm keen on 34 is because you've got two of the best three teams, Liverpool and Arsenal, with two reasonably nice fixtures. Even in 37, Tottenham and City are the best teams doubling, and neither of them have nice fixtures at all. So I'm leaning much more towards 34 than I would 37, personally.
Yeah, it definitely makes more sense. That's the way I'm leaning at the moment. It's my real internal debate is around when to wildcard.
I think in your position, because you've managed to you can get Salah in for KDB this week, so you're not going to be missing out hugely. I would be strongly considering holding off until you get to that until game week 35, and then attacking the fixtures there in your position, or just doing it now.
Yeah, I might hold off. I can figure out how many players I can get in for the doubles between now and 34, which should be fine. We've still got 4 more weeks of transfers, and obviously it doesn't feel as bad taking a couple of hits going into a bench boost. So
yeah, and remember, Tottenham have 5 games in 3 game weeks. So as much as we don't like Spurs, they can. I think if you wildcard in 35, you can really ramp up on the Tottenham players as well.
Which makes me feel really dirty.
I know, it makes you feel sick, doesn't it? It's right. get the Tottenham players we like
Anyway, moving on. There's nothing to cleanse the dirt off you like a new fantasy football game mode, Tom.
So talk to me about this, because I think you've paid a bit more attention than me. From what I can see, I don't like it.
Change is scary.
It's new. So the idea behind this new game mode that was released today, Fantasy Challenge Beta, is that it's a different challenge every week. You get to pick your team every week. And I think you basically have a score, and then it then changes every week. But there are some quite different nuances around this game, such as deadlines and transfers. So why don't you go into a bit more detail here?
Yeah, so it's Fantasy Challenge, as Tom says, and each week is a different challenge. Your team resets, so you can pick a brand new squad every week. And so in game week 30, it's unlimited budget. You can do whatever you want. And like you say, the big difference is with transfers and deadlines. And it works a bit more like if anyone plays Fantasy NFL, it's a bit more like that. So you set your squad. Once a player has played, they're locked in. But before a team plays, you can move those players in and out, transfer them out, make any changes you want before their game starts. So you can wait for team news, and if you see someone isn't starting, you can whip them out. So you get a lot more information before you actually lock your team in. And Tom, I don't know if you did know, but the next two challenges have already been announced as well. So for 31 and 32. So in game week 31, it's forward focus. All forwards score double points.
Ooh.
So if you have a forward as your captain, they get quadruple points. Wow. So like, who have we got? We got Liverpool at home to Sheffield United that week.
Oh, Darwin, yes!
That'll be the most frustrating thing ever. If he misses a penalty, gets sent off, and you've got him as your quadruple captain.
It's written in the stars.
Yeah. And then in 32, it's Red Rivalry. So it is Liverpool v Man United. So that week, all Liverpool and Man United players earn double points.
So you can go 11 Liverpool players. Nice.
Pretty much, yeah. So yeah, that is. Yeah, true. Yeah. So yeah, that is the next 3 weeks of Fantasy Challenge. Like you say, you make your new squad every week around those challenges and go nuts. It seems like it's a little bit more relaxed, maybe a little bit more fun. It'll be interesting to see. I'm assuming they'll use the next, like the end of this season as, like you say, a little bit of a beta, and then they might try and refine it and improve some things next season from scratch.
Yeah, it does sound fun though. It does sound very, very interesting.
Make fantasy fun again.
I don't think it does that. I think it's going to be one of those things where we all play it for a few weeks, then get bored pretty quickly and go back to our regular old fantasy game.
See, this thing, but for me, this is something you don't even have to think about. You can just be like, oh, right, you know what, that'll fucking do. Yeah. I've made my squad for this week with my unlimited budget, so we'll see how it goes.
What is yours?
So this is like a bit more like what you could say my wild card would look like, I guess.
Does it have Palmer, Sterling, Jackson? Because mine does.
It doesn't have Sterling or Jackson because I can't stand them and I don't trust them. But it does have Palmer.
Excellent.
And Maddison and Son.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I also have Rashford in mine.
You've been drinking.
Yeah, apparently so. I've also got Romero, like all the players I hate. Udogi.
But yeah, it's good fun. You can just. It also feels for me a bit like the joint team is. It's like I can experiment with players that I wouldn't really have the full faith in to put in my actual fantasy team.
Yeah, completely. Maybe I can have Darwin. Okay, that makes sense.
Okay, always Darwin, get Darwin.
Darwin, you're in. Save team, go. Beautiful. No, it's going to be fun. I'm interested to see how we both do. I'm just going to basically fuck around with it from the end of the season and see what it's like.
Yeah, that's the plan. It's a little bit of light relief.
Quadruple Darwin captaincy next week. And then double Darwin captaincy the week after.
Yeah. No, the other week you go Salah, didn't you?
No.
Oh right, sorry, Onana.
Darwin forever. Once he scores a hat-trick against Brighton, you won't be laughing then.
True, which probably will happen.
Darwin's biggest haul so far for the season on FPL is 11 points. I'm not sure how.
It must have been one of the rare games when he didn't do something stupid.
He's got 11 points like 3 times.
Oh wow, fair enough.
You know what? When he's played, he has been remarkably consistent. And also, the thing about Darwin, he doesn't stat pads. He doesn't. No. He won't get 4 or 5 goals against the Palace, but he will get a last-minute winner against Newcastle, or 2 last-minute winners against Newcastle. They will get a last-minute equaliser against Tottenham. Like, he's just pure. Like, he'll win you the game or he'll lose you the game. There is no in between.
And it's great fun.
It's great fun. He is the greatest footballer to ever play football.
Fucking hell.
Better than Messi, better than Ronaldo, better than Brazilian Ronaldo, better than Zidane, better even than Joe Cole. Well, not according to Sky Sports, but that's another story.
Oh, God.
We're going into Joey Barton territory here. So
yeah, oh, God. Yeah. On that note.
Guys, bit of a weird episode where we've messed around a little bit, but we needed to after the hellscape of Game Week 29. But if you want to come and chat to us, we're on Twitter. You can find us at @BigAtTheBack.
Yep, I'm at Higgins92. Tom is at TomManham92. Keep going, guys. The end of the international break is almost in sight, and then we're on the countdown to end of season madness.
And that will be very, very fun. Looking forward to it. Have a great weekend, everyone.
See ya.